It's not wrong. Just shut the door. Oh.
Don't use lots like that.
That don't make no difference. Not really. My mother's box.
Well, I know she's boss, but if she's
She's
not
like
there,
that.
you're the boss.
Yeah, it's supposed to be. Oh, all right. How are you? Yeah, today's one of them days, I'm telling you.
Monday, on Thursday.
See, if you can do that.
You on your way, old buddy?
Oh, I'm here.
Oh, good.
I'm in good.
Okay, good. See you in a minute. Who's the boys playing? Wise and the girls? Softball?
Is it John Battle?
John Brown. Right. Let's see right now, they're both number one seeds, are
Is yours playing?
No.
Who's not?
She's in.
Oh, they're not? Oh, we're in regionals. Is this regionals now?
First round of region. So you hope they alternate. Last year we hosted,
Yeah.
Air District hosted, this year Mountain Square, the name of that.
So Fort Bristol?
Yeah, battle.
It's gonna be at that. That's right.
If we do a battle or you, when battle get added.
Yeah, we'll close session first.
Okay, that'd be great.
Now we got 2 minutes.
Have you used the groundhogs? That's we'll have to build a whole tent like Brewer's done around our yard. Is that permissible? Okay.
Well, sure it is. It's a wire fence, that's all it is. Lori put her some kind of gate to get into that. I don't know how she did it, but she did it.
She's at war right now.
Do I?
She's at war.
Oh, yeah, she's aggravated.
I am too.
She's passed at war.
Yeah, well.
I can't tell you the word she really is.
No.
See, I saw,
Plants
we had seen them for a day or two, and I thought they were about, they went to this south.
I'm gonna go back.
They did too, I did too.
Yeah.
But, yeah,
I'm gonna check places, not right.
When I saw something down there, and two down there, and I thought, I don't know,
Oh,
go down here.
goodness.
But they've eaten mine in the back twice.
They got me last year. They cut it off right at the nut, and it's all even.
Yeah.
It's not like they bite this one differently than they bite this one. They took every one of her plants, it's like you took a knife, and just cut them.
Well, they started here and kept going, and still running. And like, miracles, when it's supposed to.
Oh, it's
get-
5. We'll call the call meeting to order. We could stand for our invocation, Ms. Nina, followed by the pledge of allegiance.
Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you for another day, Lord, another day of life that you provided for us. And thank you for this town, Lord, that means to all of us. And I pray that we would represent it well and represent you well. I pray for the decisions that we would make here tonight that would be in the best interest of the people that we and according to your will. In Jesus' name, amen.
Pledge allegiance Constitution
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So tonight is to work on the budget. So what we need to do, discuss the personnel salaries, we need to go into closed session to do that, so I need a motion to go into closed sessions for the discussion of personnel only.
So moved.
Second.
You got that, Drew?
Yes, sir.
Neil,
Got it recorded.
Elijah, and you? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. You want to bring your budget sheets with you?
Takes me a while to do the rain, I'm just waiting on me. Okay. No.
Not much better at all.
Discussing salaries, you care to see what, thinks about Steve getting his raise for. I'll just let you come in if we get done with that. Steve McQueen. That shouldn't be a problem, that's, well, I just got a question about it, because it's, where he's already received his first raise. It was all. it's too, what, I guess if you're going to, we need to get it out as soon as possible, so people are making plans. Right. Yeah, yeah. Right. No, yeah, I get it. I'm. Okay, yeah, if, like I said, if you're going to, I'd go ahead and get it up there so people can make plans, not riding, so that pick kids up and stuff like that, plan on getting to the pool. Okay, sounds good, thanks, Shane.
Yeah, he's a dream killer.
Do I have a motion to come back into regular session?
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Mr. Short?
Virginia Code 1950, section 2.23712P. You certify that to the best of your knowledge, the town council in its closed session only discuss public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements under this chapter, and that only such public business matters were identified in the motion by which a closed meeting was convened, heard, discussed, and considered in the meeting by the town council. Any member of the town council who believes that there was departure from the requirements of clauses 1 or 2 shall state prior to the vote indicating the substance of departure and no judgment has taken place. Mr. Lambert. Sir. Mr. Cagle.
Yes.
Mayor Doty.
Yes.
Ms. Jackson.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Fields.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Gilmer.
Yes, sir.
I do as well.
All right, now we're down to discussing other budget items. Scott and Drew, how do y'all want?
Mayor, I'd like to look at donations next.
Okay,
If everybody pull out their draft budget, page 20, I think it's the last page. We had a budget last year of $69,996, essentially $70,000 in donations budgeted. And we proposed the same amount, right at $70,000 again this year. Everybody can take a look there and see the proposed amounts for the rescue squad, the Lions Club, the library, the chamber, Little League, Lebanon High School, Lebanon Athletics, the Junior Pioneer Golf Tournament Program, Vet Fest event. We do have the, Melissa did request $8,000, and we'll look again, I'll pull those requests out that are different or that we don't have listed in our donations currently, or budgeted currently. She did request $8,000, I do believe. We were able to do $5,000 again. The Southwest Arts was $350. The Crooked Road was $1,000. The Go Team and Dash Ministry, we're actually going to do the local food pantry. They had finally got or they had received their nonprofit status, so we put $1,000. Was it $1,000, Drew, into that?
Yes, sir.
Sam Whited, again, I think Aaron Balsick had requested $5,000. We were able to do $2,500. Heart of Appalachia $500. Other local nonprofits, and that's discretionary. We usually put a little bit aside because we've always had folks come before us that we want to help. So we've got $800 in there for other local nonprofits. Russell County Fair, $5,000 for their sponsorship. And then we have Lebanon Extracurricular Arts. It's usually the high school. We usually support the arts in one way or the other with the high school kids for a grand total of $70,000.
I'd like for us to continue discussion before we finalize the budget, Scott, going back to the big rig, and I'd just like to continue discussion at a later date on the 8,000 and 5,000 requests before we pass the budget. I'm not saying do that tonight.
Well, you sure you don't want to talk about it tonight?
Well, no, we've did we contribute 5,000 last year at Sam White? The gospel saying,
The year prior we did, last year was 2,500.
okay. I know we went to 3,000 or 4,000, I thought.
This coming up here,
No, last year.
well, it's this fiscal year, yeah, so it'll be 3,000.
Oh, yeah, okay. This is for
Correct.
next budget.
We haven't given him his yet.
Well, and my thought on the Aaron Bostic is that, I mean, it's just a one-day event, it's inside. You know, I know what we kind of pay for our performances with our,
Yeah,
with our events. You know, it's not quite as big as event as, the Big Rig Show.
that's true.
So, the problem is, and we can do it, I mean, if the majority of the council wants to do it, we can increase it, we can increase any of these, it's just, we gotta try, we'll have to find, I mean, we'll probably have to lower capital outlay, you know, money we got in the other departments, but it's doable. But I thought, me personally, that $2,500 for that event is reasonable. Now, for the Big Rig, I'm still willing, Melissa had asked, we didn't do it last year, we do need to, help with the personnel. You know, I think we had hired that out maybe, or used.
I think they
the truck
contracted out the, whoever the contractor was that did it for Cedar Fest for us.
It didn't
And
go
then the Big Rig Showdown the year before, but that gentleman sold out and they had a new bunch and I don't think it went very
well.
well.
It did
So
not go well.
when she was here last, I think we agreed to supply personnel for trash and cleanup and then also, PD. So I mean,
And
Talk-
employees.
our employees, yeah, to make sure that it's taken care of, taken
In the
care of
right way.
properly.
Right, and then with that, after, Melissa came and looked at, you're looking for our employees, not include police, cause I didn't include them, I guess they might be out anyways, but Porta Johns and our employees, you're looking at $2,500 to $3,000.
Cause all that'll be time and a half overtime.
And that's not included in that 5,000, right?
No, see, we,
We're gonna give them a $5,000 check, correct? And then we'll help out with all that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So basically, she asked for 8,000, basically.
so that will actually give a raise.
That would be like.
We're giving $5 up front and then support of 25 to 3,000.
And Mayor, what do you think about changing the Sam White to 3, give them the same amount we did this year?
That'd be good. That sounds better.
Okay.
500 more would be good.
Something I wanted to ask about Isaiah House, should we make a yearly contribution to them?
Don't you?
I think so.
It's on there this
That's
time.
on here for 1,000.
That was just, it's on it for 1,000.
It is, yeah.
Right.
It's one on the far right column that's proposed for this year.
See that?
Okay. all right.
Yeah, last year we took the housing money, which was 10,000,
Yeah, 10,000 they took, you gave it, and
and that was for, that
so
was
it'll be
for
1,000? Okay, good.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think we ought to support the Isaiah House annually.
So Scott, are you wanting to,
Well, just after hearing the mayor and wanting to increase that.
are you gonna leave the discretionary at 800 or drop that to 3, or are we gonna pull that money from somewhere else?
I just drop it to 3.
That'll keep it balanced, that'll be
Keeps it
good.
balanced.
That fixes the whole problem, or it's not really a problem.
What are we dropping to three?
The
Discretionary,
discretionary fund.
just
Let
stuff that we
the,
don't really
Yeah,
know about
okay.
yet. All those extras that pop up randomly.
all right,
All right, moving on now to something that's might be a little bit tougher discussion, maybe not, is the tax rates and service rates. First of all, looking at the real estate tax rate,
is this on the sheet?
no, this is not gonna be on the sheet.
It, actually,
Oh, sorry.
the current rates are, no, so that's the proposed utility rate. To your right, on current rates, current town rates, it should be about the third page of it.
Yes, all right, sorry.
No, you're fine. It's actually longer than the third.
Last page?
Last page, of
Okay.
top taxes.
Yeah. Last page is the rate sheet.
Taxes. Okay.
All right, currently, we're at 15 cents per 100 of assessed value in real estate tax. The county was able to get us a number of what the taxes, assessments are going up for town of Lebanon residents. So I wasn't for sure, but Drew did inform me that it wasn't countywide, this is specifically for the town. I think the county, I heard numbers off, bless you. I heard numbers all the way up to 40% increase on assessments overall, but for the town of Lebanon, the number that they gave us was 30.29% is what the assessed values on average went up for town of Lebanon residents. In the budget, we propose offsetting the real estate tax 33% down to 10 cents per 100, which will actually give our citizens a slight, even a tax break, a slight tax break. And, you know, obviously it's gonna be a decreased revenue on our side, slightly, but a balanced, decrease in the rate 30.29% wasn't possible. We decreased the rate 33% to 10 cents on the 100. That's what's in the proposed budget.
So we made a flat rate of 33% to drop from 15 to 10 instead of having a decimal.
Correct.
Decimal number.
Yeah.
So it made it even. So it's a 33% tax decrease for the town citizens on real estate.
Correct.
But for right now, I say we leave it in there. It's proposed, the 10, as you just said, is it 10% per 100?
10 cents per 100, yes, sir.
Okay. Everything else remains the same.
Everything else remains the same, as far as taxes. Looking at the service rates, that'll be our next.
Wait a minute, on taxes.
Okay.
Drew, could you ask Janice, we need to add the tobacco tax in here on the revenue side, because I think she runs it continuously, doesn't she?
She does, yeah, it's in the revenue.
Okay,
It's just,
it's in there?
it's a cigarette tax this is basically a tax to all citizens.
Gotcha.
On the other,
Okay.
that one's basically in there like the
So
sales
who
tax.
uses it?
But
Gotcha.
it's a special tax.
All right, go ahead, Scott.
All right. Under this is gonna be looking at our water, sewer, and garbage rates. Currently, you'll have the current rates, as they are now. For example, a base rate, in town for sewers, $22, water's $21, and garbage is $10. Correct, Drew?
Correct.
That's current. We're proposing in the budget a 50-cent increase on water. That's the base rate, a 50-cent in tier rate, a 50-cent increase in the sewer base and tier rate, and a 50-cent increase in garbage. So you're now looking at this blue sheet here. This will show how this affects our citizens. So everybody that has the base rate, is that half of our
So about,
customers?
yeah, close to half
Will,
residential.
it'll go up $1.50 a month. For residents that don't use the base, that use an average user, you know, an average size family may use 3,500 gallons. It'll go up $3.18. And then, high users, you know, somebody that uses over 6,000 gallons, a month, it would go up $6.52.
So basically, for senior citizens, those folks in town with fixed incomes, normally they use the basic rates $1.50, is what you're saying?
Monthly.
A monthly increase, $1.50.
It'd be $18 a year.
And we tried our best to keep it down as far as we could with the investment that we're making in the water and sewer. You know, we're taking out the $3 million plus dollar loan, to upgrade our, wastewater system.
Yeah.
And that was the number, that was the least possible way amount that we could increase it and still, be able to stay balanced in our water and sewer budget.
You also have to always keep in mind that right now we're looking at projects to try to get funded, and if our rates aren't competitive with other places' rates, we're low on some of them.
On getting the grants, yeah.
The base rate will go up
Construction will have to be-
Sean may wanna know that our base rates will go up $1.50 a month.
We got to use it every day.
Well, I think, as we it's just that, it is a budget. It's not approved, it'll be advertised,
Citizens will have their input.
public hearing, review meeting, and then, we set it. I think Mr. Tillman told me we have to wait 14 days after the council meeting to actually take a vote on it, so, is this the best way to say, this is the
Proposed budget.
proposed budget for 26,
Right.
27,
Right.
and that's what, it's not approved, nothing final yet.
Preliminary.
Preliminary is a good word.
Yep. The next thing, that I have to talk about, Mayor, is capital outlay or large equipment purchases.
Yeah.
Drew had, I guess, took information from Billy and maybe even Leonard, and I think we have $388,000 in capital outlay for purchases. Now, 188,000 of that is, we're counting or banking on getting a grant for the
Yes,
brush, is that a brush truck?
it's a brush truck, it was the one we were having congressional spending, that we were approved for, and then
Yeah.
everything kind of stopped last year. So basically, it's 188 in revenue and 188 in expenditures on that. So it's all contingent, revenue's contingent on getting it, and expenditures ready.
And then how much did that leave us?
It left us 200,000 for the roll-off,
200,000 for a roll-off.
plus hopefully what we get to do trade-in at the auction. I think they guaranteed 60 for the one we have right now.
Now, I think the one we got right now, we need to keep and get rid of the Sterling.
The Sterling.
The reason I say that is because if something happened and it goes down, you could be months getting the truck back on the road and have to rent one, and that Sterling wouldn't be able to do it.
Okay.
I think it'd be a better key.
200,000.
What was it? 168 or something? 219, I think, that's what he said. Yeah.
So we'll be right at it.
Right there.
How many budgets away are we from the garbage truck
I think next year.
next year?
Next two, maybe, we'll see what happens with them, but we'll have to get one at a time.
I know, it's, we can't, no, they can't go down, no.
They do.
Well, that's why we seen our young men out throwing bags.
Well, that was because
The holidays.
some had to ride on the back of the trash truck, and
Yeah.
they needed a little help, so.
And Mayor, I wanted to give an update. We were able to put the lighting project, well, obviously the lighting project's a VDOT, project, so, we'll work within our VDOT budget, either put that in 1 or 2 fiscal years, depending on, what needs to be maintained, next fiscal year. The wall project, which is the landscape improvements, on this end, we were able to put that in the budget, and we did put the east end improvement. Obviously, there's still some,
Things to work
understanding
out.
to work out with that, but we do have it in there. And now I open the floor, is there anything else, project-wise or equipment-wise, that anybody thinks that we need to try to fit in the budget? Or there was one thing that I had mentioned to Drew, and I wish I'd printed off a picture. The Oatmeal Park, it's gotta be resurfaced. Have y'all seen it lately?
No.
Oh, the
I mean-
sidewalk area?
Well, just the parking lot inside.
Yeah, I've seen it, yeah.
But I think we can we just seal that instead of paving that? Drew?
Can we
Like I
do
said,
it?
sealing it probably, so you couldn't, if you're gonna pave it, it would cost you have to do some mill work. Because
Yeah,
we have
concrete around it.
too, so.
But what,
Possibly some seal, possibly even, that asphalt rejuvenator, looking to hit that, it's a thin layer, as long as it doesn't raise it up any, anything that
Right.
raises the asphalt up above the curb.
but I would like to get that sealed and marked, because it's dated. And then we talked about also the sidewalk, we might wait until actually they do our sidewalks. And just, crosswalks, excuse me, in town that got approved last meeting, and try to match up the color of of those crosswalks before we paint the walkways in the Oatmeal Park. I've got a picture here somewhere.
the crosswalks that are gonna be done on State, on Main Street. And do we know the color scheme of that, are they returning to what's there?
Matches exactly
Right.
Do we have,
Plans to match it exactly what they are.
It is.
what if we matched, you reckon they would do that sidewalk?
See, that was the thing, is they stamped that sidewalk, but we didn't go in, I'm guessing that it was probably astronomical to do it how they did with crosswalks. Dust and the pop, the kind of stuff you fill it up with, so we actually,
It was.
Billy told me that, you know, we had clatter duct paint that, so it's kind of filled in those grooves, and that's why it held up like the crosswalks held up.
How can we fix it?
I think you're probably more than likely, if you get someone in there and paint it, good and dress it up, it's probably gonna look good and the colors gonna look good, but I think you're gonna lose your pattern on it, so it's gonna fill those cracks up.
The build's gonna fill the pad, that's stamped asphalt.
Yeah.
It's not concrete.
They just didn't have, but crosswalks, I think they have, when those guys come in and do it, I think they have a sealer and all that kind of stuff. And we just kind of
And
thermal.
they do it all at the same time?
And I'm sure when you got a price, I'm sure it was outrageous to
Yeah.
get that whole area cut.
Okay.
So,
I think the best case scenario, Mayor, is to pressure wash it and try to match it up with our crosswalks, the color, and use that,
Yeah.
use a paint that's got the texture in it, or, you know, it's made for the high traffic outdoor areas. That'd be
Well,
my-
you know, we're gonna have to, I was thinking too, Scott, we're probably gonna pay the parking lot, we're gonna have to pay the parking lot at the theater while they're in town.
Yeah.
Should we go ahead and just let them go over there and fix that parking lot at the,
Well, if the asphalt's still good, I think we could seal it, but if it's not, then I mean,
yeah.
The
Just-
the
I mean,
asphalt,
they got a needle or not.
the asphalt looks good, but the worst part about Old Mill Park is that gridded sidewalk.
yeah,
The asphalt, you could actually, they could tape it off and seal it and then
Yeah,
restripe
right.
it, then restripe it with thermal and it look brand new.
okay. That's good.
There's no big cracks or deteriorated holes, or it's not spider web and soft in spots. It actually
Okay.
looks, asphalt is good, but that sidewalk there's your issues.
Yeah, should, that's right.
yeah, fire department looks.
Fire department looks good, that's right.
More than two cars were sitting over there.
As far as the, theater parking lot, we do have in the budget this fiscal year money to pay that, Mayor.
Okay, that'll
So-
pretty well finish us up,
So
so.
hopefully that'll be one of the things they hit when they come to town before July 1st. Is that correct, Chris?
Tell us again about the coming on the Main Street paving, is it in June?
Yeah, 16th, Monday after Cedar Fest. So
Right.
they didn't want to start anything before Cedar Fest.
The week after Cedar Fest, right.
Mayor, I need to back up, I forgot. Drew, can you remind us the donation request that we did not put in the budget? We got one from the cheerleaders.
Yes, you got two set that we've received this week. One was from the cheerleaders, they're building a new, locker room at the high school to use. We mentioned last week, council meeting, they will get that in writing, filled in. And then also, a gentleman that has started working at the farmer's market, Clatterbuck. He was approached by, I guess it's the school, they have those, folders that they hand out, they send out to the students every year, it's got, at the beginning of the year, it's got the rules and that sort of thing. And he was asked if the farmer's market would do a logo or anything like that for the town on those folders from the school. I think the prices are listed on that email there, Scott.
Okay.
You mean to draw a logo? What do you mean?
Like the farmer's market logo would be on, you know those red folders you used to hand out to
Well,
students?
they want us to buy an advertisement.
Advertisement to put on there, advertise for the farmer's market.
Oh, okay. How much is it, Scott? Does it say?
Well, half pocket would be $600. If we do that, we could take it out of the legislative budget instead of donations. Since it's advertisement, if y'all wanted to give Drew.
You're not gonna put the town seal on.
I'd rather have the town seal than the farmer's market. I mean, that,
This looks more professional.
Yeah.
We're getting the money in. I think it's a good idea.
so do we wanna do, it's on this email sheet right here.
I'd like to ask a question about
Sure.
that. You talking about cheerleaders?
No,
Oh,
talk about the farmer's market logo for the advertisement.
I think your suggestion is what we want to do.
Okay.
Legislative with the town seal.
Joe, Drew, everybody okay with doing the town seal and
Yeah.
the advertisement? Out of legislative? And then go ahead, Mayor, what was your comment on the,
So where are they building the building for the cheerleaders?
It's in the school already, I think they're making a vacant room.
It's a locker
back
room.
there in the locker room, and turn it into a cheerleader locker room.
The maintenance department can do that.
They can, just need, tell me what this is.
I mean, the reason I know that, I had things renovated in the building when I was there. that-
They can go back to the next, about 3 months ago, and see if they finally got enough to take care of it.
I say we hold up till we find out a little more.
Ask them again.
$300 discretionary.
Now, I think the plan seems to think that, to me, that they've implied they got the money.
$50 about 3 months ago for that, and then they came back by and said that they had enough money.
You don't you remember, Drew, the basketball locker room was renovated?
Yeah.
Okay. Football locker room was
I
renovated?
didn't know who paid for it back then.
Well, I didn't, but the maintenance department did.
the only, Brad's gonna kill me, cause he ain't here, but, I do have a question to consider. Now that I see that we moved $500 out of discretionary, should we put Little League money in discretionary from 1,500 to 1,000? The reason I ask is because we are purchasing we're looking to purchase a golf cart or gator. We're gonna be, we can actually, we've got funds in the Parks and Rec to buy the product for the field. So, but we can leave it like it is. I mean, I hate for Brad not to be here to
I
object
think
to
we ought to
that,
have him here.
so.
Well, I mean, I think Brad's understanding, number one, I think we know if that field needs something over there, we're gonna supply it. We put too much money in Parks and Rec. But, are you worried about something else coming up discretionary wise?
Well, it always comes up. You know, we always have, I mean, we can discuss this all we want, but when, you know,
I think.
when the little kids get in front of us and
Yeah, I think-
ask for support on, you know, going to state or something like that, we always tend to help.
I think.
And I guess we still can, Mayor. We
Yeah,
still can.
I think we still can,
Okay.
and we can address it as we need to.
Okay, fair enough. Did you get that only change in there saying why to 3,000 and discretionary to 300? That's all I've got, Mayor, as far as the budget.
No? Anything else on the budget?
I've got just one comment on it. If anyone does get, questioned or comment from the public, have a question on it. This year fiscal year shows an increase revenue of 26%. From like 26% from last year. 18% of that is us basically administering that $2 million grant for Cumberland Housing. It's in there, it's in our revenue, but it's going right back out.
Oh, the Villas project?
Correct.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's, don't let it get skewed that we've raised revenue 26%.
But you don't want us to think we got a lot of money, is that what you're worried about?
Well, I just don't want someone thinking that we
That's
raised
right,
all
that-
kind of rates. and
that
made
grant is in
more
there.
money than we did last
Increased revenue and they're raising.
Yeah.
It's a little bit.
All right, Ms. Deanna, you have anything else?
Yes, sir.
Why? You were there?
Only thing that I have,
The
Mayor,
budget. It's gotta be on the budget.
one thing I had, last meeting I was out, with the doctor's appointment really, but, I did look through this landscape proposal, talked with Scott about it, talked to Nathan Brown about it, talked with Drew about it a little bit. I don't have a problem with the beautification down at the Bonanza exit. What I kinda do, what I would like to look at, and I think this project out here in front of the DMV, I think that would be a big improvement for the town. And its citizens, but I would like to make sure that we don't have $150,000 somewhere, whether it be equipment, trash truck wise, whether it be, moving forward with some of these pump station issues that were budgeted for with DEQ, things like that, instead of putting that into a beautification project right now. I just wanna make sure that we're good with doing that when we've got other things that may be an issue, because we just talked about, Drew said we can't do these trucks all in 1 year, that we're slated for a trash truck in 2 years. But yet we're gonna put this kind of money into a landscape project.
Is that the state money?
This is new construction to my knowledge. Well, is that state money? Urban maintenance?
Urban maintenance?
West End would be.
West End, East End,
First exit.
all of it would be.
First exit will not be. I mean, the east end exit would not be.
Yeah, 'cause
This
that's
would be.
Okay. Well, that changes a little bit, so I'm probably good with that, as long as Drew has it. I know I've got the State Street budget, looks like we're ahead of schedule there. We haven't done paving and marking yet, but, that's fine. The lighting project, I would like to put that in 2 years, 2 budget years. Reason being is because if we come up to May or June, the end of June, we have funds, we have spent, like we have a easy winter or whatever, we can then stroke out of urban maintenance. So that gives us,
Mayor,
we're like doing 2 years.
I've got things, the pumps, down Big Cedar.
Absolutely.
One way or another, I don't wanna wait, I don't wanna wait on the funds from DEQ we're drawing down. I'd like to move forward and just, even if we gotta use hopefully we pay ourselves back, but if we can't, so be it. But I think we need to move forward, with, getting that pump station fixed. Out of cap.
Yeah, DEQ's aware of the infrastructure issue. We've been approved, we just talked about it, the wastewater side for those pump station upgrades and actually complete replacement, really. We understand how slow government works. Issue down there, we had an issue down there when Lane came through with power failure, which shut that pump down, which created, a lot of that was storm water, not necessarily anything else, but I think we had an issue this time with maybe some sediment clogged up the screen and compressor drew us in. So we do have aging infrastructure, I agree 100%.
I'd like to make that number one priority in our budget, if that's all right with Leonard and Elijah and the mayor. I mean, it's,
Absolutely.
if Drew could just move forward with that
And we can
Is
talk
that a
about.
motion?
so move, Mayor.
Is there a second?
Yes.
Drew? You probably
Lane
gonna
Group,
be able to get Lane Group, give us a price pretty quick,
It's in the design phase right now.
so, okay.
we need to expedite it if all possible, Mayor.
We're turning you loose, according to what I'm hearing, Drew. And
Turn the mayor loose to call Matthew Lane
Call
on.
Matthew and we'll get that.
Get it.
And we know it's costly, I mean, obviously, it's gonna cost some money, but it has got to be fixed.
Absolutely.
Simultaneously, if you'll work on the drawdown, DEQ phase of that too, if it's possible, but I don't want that to hold us up.
I think by the time that it gets designed and that's the priority, and we get the actual parts and the infrastructure purchased and the contractor in here to do it, more than likely, those funds, that's gonna take some time, no matter what, no matter if we do expedite it. It
Yeah,
can be-
moving forward, yeah.
It can be first on the list, but just like Drew has already spoken, we've got that, all that money is approved. We're just going through the processes. We've known, that our infrastructure is, it's older, but we are being progressive here, but that needs to be the top priority, Drew, and I appreciate everything that you're doing as far as trying to get that expedited and happening also.
Okay, we have a motion and a second, any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, anything else related to the budget? Motion,
Just one second, Mayor, yes. Nina made a good point. The fire department did have a request. You have a copy of it?
Probably in
do you know, Drew, what their request was?
Yeah, I've got it here, Mayor. So, the fire department did request a total budget of $142,428. Drew, what's that total budget with the, is it 115 plus 22,000? Can you give me the total budget?
So the, it's 115,430 plus capital outlay of 22,269.
What's the total? $137,697. So, we were not able to get to 142 as requested. We were able to get to 137,97. Nina had brought it up, informed everybody or remind everybody, the fire chief had asked, or had notified us that we were looking at buying it, that he had suggested purchasing a new fire truck in the future, or planning, I don't specifically, do you remember what the request was, Drew?
Basically, it was a replacement of it. He felt they were gonna need in the next 3 years, and he's gonna try to put back some capital savings for that.
That's correct.
25,000 a year.
So,
We're talking about a $650,000 purchase. Says here, new engines going on average anywhere from $500,000 to $650,000. F-33, the engine we need to replace is a critical piece of the puzzle in our booster backup standard operating procedure. So what he's looking at is 3 years of $25,000, $75,000 total. That'd be a down payment on $600,000 with a purchase price of $475,000. That would be that $23,000 current payment capital outlay for F-31, which is still owed for, plus a new $25,000 capital outlay, which would bring the total capital outlay to $48,000 per year, to pay the remainder of the $475,000 until the engine is paid off. Does he have the current structure on F-31 and how many more years that is to be paid off?
We actually meet in the morning.
yeah, I've got it. It's $22,000 a year up until 2030, I do believe.
Because there's 5
So-
more years on it.
Yeah, so what we did, we tried to meet the fire department, what we were able to do this fiscal year, like I told Drew, and this is my suggestion to the council, we need to look at it year by year on what we can do. This year, we put an extra payment in the budget, kinda like John had requested, to help get that other fire truck, paid for. My suggestion would be, is not to buy a fire truck until we get the other one paid for. That'd be my suggestion. And we did put an extra payment, whether it goes in capital savings or whether it goes towards paying, capital savings for, that fire truck, because currently we do have the current fire truck financed at between 2 and 3%. So it can either go in the savings account or it can go, to make an extra payment, on that fire truck. So if we're able to make an extra payment every year for 3 years, then we will have, paid for the current fire truck that we got financed, and we'll be able to, the council at that time will be able to make a decision,
Moving forward.
yeah, to, hey, do we wanna, and, I talked to John about it, and I think he was good with it, and I think that's what he'd actually, he had thought, his suggestion was put the money back in the account, my suggestion was to make an extra payment, but It could be either way.
Either
yeah.
way,
Either
yeah.
way, I mean, yeah, we are making more interest, than we're paying, so it'd probably better to put it in an account. But either way, we're putting the money back, doubling up on getting the, fire truck paid for. That we currently have a lease to own. It's good. Thanks for bringing that up, Donna, I forgot all about it.
Is there anything else on the budget tonight?
No, what Scott was just referring to though, I would highly recommend not paying that truck off early. Because I think we've got it 2.74%, and that is cheap money. We can put that extra $25,000 a year in LGIP or any other type of high yield savings at anywhere from 4.5% to 5% right now. So we'd almost be doubling our money in interest alone. That would be where I would stand on paying
Okay.
off early versus putting in some type of LGIP funded escrow.
Scott, anything else?
No, sir.
Nana? Deanna?
No, sir.
Leonard? Elijah?
No, sir, I'm good.
Drew, you good?
Sir.
We have a motion to adjourn?
I do.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Opposed, same sign, we stand adjourned.
Thanks, Chris. Appreciate it.
Good job, guys. Thanks for the work. Thanks, Leonard.
At your all stations, there's, Beverly laid out open enrollment. It's coming up for Liberty and Aclat, if you might be interested. And then also, everybody.
It's right.
Frank?
That's all right.
What are you giving us?
This is the Versa, we've had another company called Baycorp do a proposal for insurance this year. We need to make a decision after June 4th.